Hello, my tiny loves. I am back with a picture book. This is another book that I found at Auntie Abby's house, and it is so cute to me. It's called I Need My Monster, and there's a little kid, and it is written by Amanda Noll and illustrated by Howard McWilliam. Howard McWilliam is a really good artist. Look at that. All right. I Need My Monster. Oh my goodness, look at that little cutie patootie. All right. I'm gonna shift. Okay. Tonight, when I looked under the bed for my monster, I found this note instead. Gone fishing, back in a week, Gabe. What was I going to do? I needed a monster under my bed. How was I supposed to go to sleep if my monster was gone? There, you can see all the little details. There he's looking under the bed. And then there, you can see the close up the bed. Oh, all right. I tried to sleep, but it wasn't the same without Gabe. I missed his ragged breath and his nose whistling, the scrabbling of his uncut claws. How would I ever get sleep without Gabe's familiar scary noises and his spooky green ooze? It was no use. Gabe would be gone for a week, and I just had to have a monster. So you can see all of his little... Let's see, he can't sleep. I climbed quickly out of bed so my parents wouldn't hear me. Grown-ups have some strange ideas about monsters under beds. I knocked on the floorboards and then scrambled back under my covers. I waited nervously. Would a new monster appear? What would he be like? Would his snorting be as cheerful as Gabe's? When I heard some creaking under my bed, I knew that the substitute monster had arrived. Good evening, said a low, breathy voice. My name is Herbert, and I will be your monster for the evening. Herbert? What kind of name is that for a monster? You don't sound scary at all. Have you ever scared a kid before? Well, no, but I've read all the best books on the topic. Do you have long teeth and scratchy claws? I asked. No, but I have an overbite and I'm a mouth breather. Listen. Herbert's panting was kind of scary, but it wasn't enough for me. There's little Herbert. Title of his book says Bizarre Beasties right there. Listen, Herbert, I'm sorry. I just don't think this is going to work. It's nothing personal. I just need a monster with claws. Piggy, Herbert complained. As you wish, I'll go. There was some more creaking, and then Herbert was gone. Look at Herbert. He looks like a little bit like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, but he has a mustache and horns. I think he actually might be kind of like a dragon monster maybe, or a dinosaur. I don't know, but doesn't he look a little bit like the Grinch? And then there he is. See, he's describing the monster he needs. Some scratching warned me that a second monster had appeared. Good evening, he said in a high, silky voice. My name is Ralph. I understand. You need a monster with claws. If you would please lean over, I'll hold out an arm for inspection. I crouched on the edge of the bed, hoping to see a horrible, shaggy arm with sharp, ragged nails. Instead, I was surprised to see sleekly brushed fur with the smooth, shiny claws. "Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude," I asked, "but is that nail polish on your claws?" "Yes, it is," Ralph replied. "I believe professional monsters should always be well groomed." I could tell that this was not going to work either. "I'm sorry to disappoint you, Ralph, but I need a monster with scary claws, like Gabe's," I thought. I heard some scratching and I knew that Ralph was gone. So there is his bed. Look, it's kind of like my hand. Oh, it's the wrong hand, but you know, fanciness. And then, oh, look at how fancy he is. Look at all his eyeballs, his beautiful nails. Oh my goodness, he's got lots of paws with nails and a little fur around his neck. A minute later, a third voice from under the bed rasped, "Check out these claws, kid." I gathered my courage and I peered over the edge. The claws were impressive, jagged and dark and razor sharp. So far, so good. I was a little nervous. "Could you stick out your tail?" I whispered. "Sure, but don't be scared." Oh, I should probably show you the pictures here. Look, you can see, he's a little intimidated. Talons. I peeked through my fingers at the slimy tail slithering over the foot of the bed. And that's when I noticed the bow. "Are you a girl monster?" "Of course I am," she snapped. "I'm Cynthia. Do you have a problem with that?" Yeah, I do," I admitted. "I definitely need a boy monster. Boy monsters are for boys and girl monsters are for girls. Everyone knows that." "Well, aren't you a picky one?" She sniffed and then she was gone. Look at her face. I love it. Look at those eyelashes. Hair with some curly horns. A very impressive tail. And look at that cute little bow. So far, this one's my favorite monster. I think she looks awesome. Was I being too picky? No. I knew that my monster needed to be well-clawed and menacing. The whole point of having a monster, after all, was to keep me in bed, imagining all the scary stuff that would happen if I got out. I did not know that that was the reason why you were supposed to have a monster under your bed, but now I know. Here's his little face and all the scariness. Then I heard a shuffling noise and some slobbering. A fourth monster was under my bed. "Hey, the name's Mac." One look at his claws proved that Mac was a big, scruffy boy monster. I shivered. Maybe this one would work out. "Those are excellent claws. But do you have a long tail?" I leaned over to see. "No, my tail is stumpy," Mac slurped. "But I do have an unruly long tongue." "Why would I be afraid of a long tongue?" I asked. "I don't know," he said, trying to sound terrifying. "But you never know when I might lick you." I fell back on the bed laughing. So there's the picture of when he sees the claws. And then look at this silly, goofy monster. And there's where he thinks it's hilarious. If we're being honest, he doesn't look very intimidating, but he does look a little bit like a baby monster inside of a bathtub with a little towel on the edge. That's kind of weird. "Well, if you're not even going to try to work with me," Mac whined. I held in my giggles. "I really don't think you should send me away," he warned. "Kids who reject 5 monsters in one night." "I did not reject 5 monsters tonight," I interrupted. "My regular monster went fishing." "Fishing? Maybe he just left because you're so picky. Fine, I'm out of here. But I wouldn't expect another monster tonight if I were you. Now he doesn't look like another monster in a bathtub. They're arguing. How was I ever going to sleep without my monster? I was surprised to hear more creaking under the bed. Loud creaking with scratching. I thought no more monsters were going to appear tonight, I said. Sorry I'm late, kid. Whew, it was Gabe. I thought I would enjoy fishing, but I didn't, he explained. Those fish scare too easily. No challenge at all. You, however, are challenging, my friend. You're almost too old to be afraid of monsters. You keep me on my toes. Ah, toes. What a delicious snack. The bed quivered as Gabe's stomach rumbled with hunger. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start the evening with an ominous puddle of drool. I peeked over the edge of the bed. Green ooze spread soundlessly from underneath. There's his eyes. And there's the ominous ooze. And then the bed trembled as Gabe unfurled his spiked tail. He was daring me to guess where he might pop up. I shivered. That's a massive spiked tail. So you had some substitute monsters tonight, Gabe said, sharpening his claws on my bedpost. Were you scared? Then Gabe started tapping. I could tell he wanted to know if I still needed him. Look, there he is. No other monsters can scare me like you, I giggled, diving under my covers and pulling them up tight. Through the blanket, I heard Gabe's soft, comforting snorts. Ha! I knew it! We were made for each other, he growled. When my blanket started to slip off the bed, I knew Gabe was ready to eat. Now, if you could please stick out your foot, he said. I like to nibble your pinky. Oh. I yanked my blanket back up and scrunched my feet in so Gabe couldn't get them. No toes tonight, but you can have this, I offered, pushing my pillow off the bed. I didn't even hear it hit the floor. There he is, giving him the pillow. Gabe was back. The ooze was perfect. Everything was back to normal. I shivered again. I'd be asleep in no time. There he is. There he is sleeping in his bed. You can see the moon and his little Gabe the monster under the bed. And that's the end of that book. I hope you liked it. I think it's very cute. Plus, I think that monsters are fun to look at and see how other people draw them, because that's a fun thing about monsters. They could look like anything. You know what I'm saying? But I hope you like the book, and I love you very much.